All right, let's talk briefly about heat damage. Heat damage is just like it sounds. It's damage to the surface of the belt, and it's caused typically from hot material being on the belt. It's mostly found where the material is hot on the belt and when there's hot cargo on the belt. So if you look at the photograph, you can see that that heat damage is more identifiable in the center of the belt where the cargo lies because of its trough. Heat damage makes it very, very difficult to clean the belt. The belt scrapers can't get into the cracks that are caused from heat damage. Now, a lot of people get heat damage confused with top cover cracking. Top cover cracking, the cracks are very narrow and typically found the entire width of the belt. Heat damage, the cracks are further spaced apart and they're more pronounced where that cargo lies in the center of the belt. But I want you to take a really close look at this photo, and I want to point something out to you here. If you look at this belt, it's clear there's a significant amount of heat damage in the center of the belt. But in this example, there's also heat damage out here on the edge. So what that tells me when I'm looking at this photo, what that indicates is that at some point along this conveyor, there's a seized idler or there's structure that belt's bumping into, causing friction, creating a little bit of that heat damage. So if you really examine your belts as they're being used, it really helps you identify what's going on, where the problems might lie. And this is a great example of that. When I've got some heat damage on my belts, is there any way to temporarily fix the belt, or should I immediately get a new one? Heat damage is a lot like a lot of these other types of damage in that it typically can only be prevented. As with most of these types of damage, the best practice is unfortunately not going to be to repair the damage. It's going to be to prevent it next time. And heat damage is kind of the same way. Now, I've heard all kinds of stories of operations that have spliced their belts together vertically when they've had junction joint failure, or operations that have put an epoxy or some type of belt repair product when the belt's got heat damage or top cover cracking. I think those solutions are probably okay when you're in a situation that you've got to operate. But really the best practice is to make sure the next time you source that belt or replace that belt is that you make sure that you spec it differently to prevent the problem that's causing you to change it out in the first place.